When I decided to go back and look at these games, I certainly never expected LeBron James to look better than, or even as good as Jordan. But what was really eye-opening was realizing how similar things were in 2007 for LeBron James as they are in 2025. We have the hovering at the top of the key, not really doing anything except observing a teammate making a difficult shot.
Good. Nice turnaround shot.
We have his poor shooting.
James misses. 0 for 8.
And the subsequent fear of taking open shots. You have the turnovers.
LeBron James dribbled it off his leg.
We even have examples of some of those silly rebounds that he's padding his stats with today. We have the floater defense, questionable in its value, but also him losing track of his man, not boxing out, and consequently giving up the offensive rebound. His ball handling skills look familiar. He was even doing this bad acting where he pretends like he's giving somebody advice to take attention away from the fact that he just turned the ball over. Even the no calls, opening him up to finally make a basket.
And there's his first field goal after missing his initial 8 shots from the field.
Maybe the only difference that in 2025 this would be called a foul and he would shrug afterward.
James for 3. Won't go. Here comes James. Poked away from behind by Ori, and Ginobili comes the other way.
You even have LeBron James throwing the ball away late in the game, putting it out of reach. Since LeBron fans are stat people, let's start with the stats.
Antonio, which Greg Popovich said is one of the real keys to the series. Bad pass deflected off the rim.
There are a couple of stats that are on my mind, and the reason they're on my mind is because they are connected to narratives surrounding LeBron James. One narrative has him as the chosen one. He's the man. He's the best ever. But when he's not, then he's a pass-first guy. So the problem is LeBron didn't do better than Jordan in scoring or assists. These numbers are actually astonishingly bad. 14 points sounds bad enough, but what if I word it as he made 4 baskets? The rest of it was free throws. If you only made 4 baskets, you'd better have a lot of assists. He only had 4 assists. That's the same number of buckets as he made. When someone who has been criticized as being a ball hog also has 4 assists, but also produces 49 points on 50% shooting, I'm left wondering where LeBron fans go to next. LeBron James wasn't even the highest scorer on his own team while being called the chosen one. He was tied for second. He barely beat 4th place.
Gibson inside, banks it in. Gibson goes to the basket and lays it in beautifully. Gibson, oh, nice drive. Gibson for 3, puts it in. Gibson has shot the ball well, does it again. Gibson 6 of 8 from the field. They've got to get him more shots for the San Antonio Spurs. Pavlovich, nice move, good hard drive to the basket. Pavlovich drives to the basket, up, and puts it in. Nice athletic move from Sasha Pavlovich.
But they really sold out, made a commitment on the defensive end, and because of that, trying to guard Parker.
Oh, nice tip in from Pavlovich.
That attitude, that approach is contagious.
Gooden to the basket, and most of them are layups. Gooden, nice fake, and Gooden able to knock it down. Rebound, Gooden, back up and in. And there's the offensive board work from Gooden.
Take a look again at the teammates that scored as much or more than James. They also had significantly higher shooting percentages. No, really, take a look. Those are amazing percentages. His teammates did everything they could, and just like today, simply couldn't overcome LeBron James.
Steps back for 3, won't go.
Tony Parker.
James spinning, the fall away. He loves that shot.
Not that seconds on the shot clock.
James inside, blocked by Duncan. James for 3, won't go. James for 3, won't go. James on a pull-up.
Come in and pinch and get the free throw line rebound.
James misses. 0 for 8. James. This not happening tonight, as he's now 2 for 13 from the field.
And you can't argue with Tony Parker.
James misses.
James misses. Something you would hear a lot through that series and through the rest of his career. But it doesn't matter, because the media would cover for his mistakes and rewrite history so that people today blame his teammates. In fact, it started back then. Just listen to Mark Jackson right here.
Of LeBron James, he's making plays for other guys. It's those guys that have to step up and knock those shots down.
I believe LeBron James was 2 for 12 at that point. And as I already pointed out, he only had 4 assists in the game. And I showed you what the shooting percentages of his teammates were. And yet Mark Jackson is saying that other guys have to step up. 4 of 16 is really bad. But add to that he only contributed 4 assists and had 6 turnovers. This guy had more turnovers than made buckets.
Saw series in both the first 2 games. Big series in both the first 2 games.
More turnovers than assists. Why isn't that what we remember in history? Speaking of history, why don't you ever hear about Gibson propelling the Cavaliers past Detroit with 31 points with incredibly efficient stats? Fanboys, disrespect Gibson if you want to, but show me a time that Michael Jordan had the luxury in 1986 of a teammate scoring 31 instead of making Michael Jordan carry the burden. Let's take a quick look at Game 2's stats before we dive deeper into fanboy excuses, because I know they're coming. Congratulations to LeBron James for moving up to 25 points. I'm afraid that pales compared to 63 points, especially when Michael Jordan shot a higher shooting percentage and had the same number of assists as Mr. I'm a pass first guy. Personally, I think if you're going to have 6 turnovers, you'd better have a lot more than 6 assists.
Long range, Jordan hit. You talk about birds, sheer determination. At certain points of a game, Michael Jordan has those same qualities.
Those same qualities, but much later in his career, right, fanboys? Wrong. This is season 2, his first playoff experience. And what else do LeBron fans do? They make a lot of excuses. One of the excuses oftentimes is age. Either too old, too young. Things just aren't ever quite perfect for LeBron James. Well, LeBron, you've got the bases covered with this one because you got swept when you were young, you got swept in your prime, and you got swept while you were old. Let's talk about age and experience. They were the same age, interestingly enough. And LeBron James had 4 seasons in the NBA under his belt. This was only Michael Jordan's 2nd season. Now, because LeBron James's birthday is at the end of December and Michael Jordan's is in late February, LeBron was further into being 23 than Michael Jordan was. This is a big waste of time to me. You know, you're either the GOAT or you're not. Part of being the GOAT is that your age doesn't really matter. You overcome circumstances and are a leader, or you're not. Prior to the NBA, Jordan had already won a college championship and an Olympic gold medal. LeBron only has himself to blame for entering the NBA when he entered the NBA. In fact, he tried to enter the NBA even earlier. LeBron's opponent, Tony Parker, won his first championship at age 21 and got another one this season, largely thanks to LeBron James. Maybe he's the GOAT. I find it interesting that LeBron fans put so much emphasis on the fact that Michael Jordan couldn't get past the world champion Celtics in his 2nd and 3rd seasons, when LeBron James didn't even make the playoffs until his 3rd season. So LeBron fans are taking comfort in the fact that LeBron didn't get his team to the playoffs. Thus, there wasn't even an opportunity to be swept. Failing before you can fail on a bigger stage is apparently a form of success. That's ridiculous enough as it is, but then this becomes ludicrous when you realize those same people also want to take comfort in making it to the finals a bunch of times, but losing more times than you won in those finals. So Jordan can't get a sorry team into the playoffs his second season and get swept without your ridicule. But LeBron can make it to the finals and get swept and get defeated overall more times than he's won, and that's fine. Speaking of being swept, let's take a quick look back at LeBron's history. While Jordan only went upward over his career, LeBron's career is staggered with epic failures, despite team hopping and roster rigging. And this is how close Michael Jordan came to not being swept by the Celtics. If we're going to judge Michael Jordan for being swept when it only took 3 games to secure the series, maybe we should also consider LeBron's gentleman sweeps. I want people to answer this before I get into the next section. Are you a fan of today's game? Do you like the 3-point game? Some people think that it's helped bring the NBA to its downfall. Other people think it's great. Well, what you didn't have with Michael Jordan was someone who wasn't a 3-point shooter shooting 3-pointers anyway. In fact, he didn't attempt any 3-pointers in those big scoring games. And that's a little bit exhausting to think about. 49 points and 63 points, and none of it had the boost of the extra points of a 3-pointer. That means you were watching somebody play their ass off.
He should have been tired an hour and a half ago.
LeBron goes 2 for 6 in game 1. Yeah, if you want to see somebody miss 4 out of 6 shots and forgive it because 2 of those shots equaled 6 points, great. You just described what's wrong with the NBA. Next game, LeBron goes 2 for 6 again. Then he goes 0 for 2. And in the final deciding game, he goes 0 for 5 from 3. But Mark Jackson will tell you that the other guys need to step up and hit their shots. In Michael Jordan's game 3, he attempted 1 3-pointer and made 1 3-pointer. Earlier, I talked about what hasn't changed, like people shooting in LeBron's face, or LeBron's help without the help, not being able to score at the end of a game, but what things have changed. Here's one.
James, got clock at 2, offensive foul.
This was correctly called an offensive foul in 2007. LeBron doesn't like a defender in front of him. He just uses his size to bowl right over the top, lower the shoulder, follow through. This may be one of the most crucial changes that has taken place in the NBA, is to allow LeBron James offensive fouls. This may be the difference between him having 0 rings and the 2.2 rings that he has now. Speaking of things that have been changed to favor LeBron James, take a look at this travel violation committed by Tim Duncan.
I do think it does. It gets San Antonio's attention as Duncan travels.
Now think about what LeBron James does today with no whistle. Well, I think that was a pretty good first look back at the first time that LeBron James was swept and Michael Jordan was swept. An interesting journey through NBA history as well, and rule changes, and the desperate attempt to crown a king that never should have been. Let me know what you thought. I've got a lot more to cover regarding the 2007 finals. We'll get into some more of the fanboy excuses, such as saying that LeBron James carried trash.
To beat the Celtics in the Garden this year. Harris, McHale, offensive rebound, knocked it out of bounds. Bird fires it up blindly. Harris loses it to Oakley.
Parrish has the rebound and a nice knockaway by Jordan.